How's it going, fellas cinephiles? This is Dominic from Film Overload, the channel where we talk about movies, pop culture, and everything in between. Once again, sorry for the delay in content. I've been having some internet issues, which is not fun, but hopefully I found a way to upload this video. I'm still dealing with the internet problems, but I think I found a way to probably upload again while in the midst of trying to get the internet problems fixed. But today's video will be something very interesting. Last video, it was movies that had mixed reactions that I personally liked. This video is dealing with movies that I find completely overrated. The movies that have ridiculously high scores or pretty good scores on Letterboxd that I just personally found, like not great, not bad, just eh. So I thought it'd be fun to dive into movies that I find completely overrated. And if there's some movies on this list that you personally love that I find overrated, that's okay, because that's the beautiful part about movies and television. All of it is subjective, which makes the art form such a unique way to express your ideas and your thoughts. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. The first movie on this list is a film that I had really high hopes for, and it just kind of dropped the ball, and that is Paul Schrader's First Reformed. The story sounded really good. Paul Schrader is a really solid director. I love Ethan Hawke. I love Amanda Seyfried, so it was like, oh, this movie could be actually really, really good. And it just wasn't. I appreciate what Paul was going for with this film. I really enjoyed the themes and how he crafted this film. But for me, it just didn't live up to the expectations that I had for it. Ethan Hawke was fantastic. Amanda Seyfried was fantastic. I loved Paul's direction. His screenplay was very witty, but the story and the elements of the story just did not work for me. So the first movie on this list is Paul Schrader's First Reformed. Coming in at number 9, we have a movie that I recently watched, actually, probably about a month ago, actually, now. And when I first watched this film, it was like, okay, what the actual heck did I just witness? And that is the animated film Paprika. Again, I appreciate the ambition. It literally felt like a love child between Inception and anime. And it was a cool concept, and I really understand why so many people enjoy this film. I, for one, just did not find it like wow, like it didn't wow me right away, and that kind of worried me because I had really high expectations for this film, and it just didn't do anything for me. Just right in the middle there. I liked some parts of it, I didn't like some parts of it, and that's just how it ended up. I loved the animation style, and it was really good. But again, just the story and the elements of the story just did not work with me. So Paprika is number 9 on this list. At number 8, I have a movie that actually won the Academy Award for Screenplay the year it came out, and once again was praised by critics and audiences alike, that I just personally found to be kind of meh, And that is Spike Jonze's Her. Now, again, I understand the appeal for this film, especially in the times that we live in now. I love Joaquin Phoenix. Scarlett Johansson was great. The premise was actually rather interesting. But again, it just did not satisfy me fully. I really enjoyed some parts, like Joaquin Phoenix's performance and Scarlett Johansson's performance, even though you can't see Scarlett. I really enjoyed both their performances. Again, I loved the concept. The concept was really well done, but just the execution of those ideas just weren't there for me. So that's why Spike Jonze's Her is on this list. At number 7, we have a horror movie, actually. And when I first saw this film back in 2019, this movie did not grab me right away. I rewatched it about twice after I saw it in theaters initially, and the score did move up just a little bit, but not much. And that movie is Ari Aster's Midsommar. Again, I completely understand the appeal for this film and why it was praised by both critics and audiences alike. But for me personally, this film just did not do anything for me. Florence Pugh was great. I loved the concept. I loved the characters. I loved the build up to just that insane last like 20 minutes of this film. But the rest of this movie just seemed to kind of float along up until that last 25 minutes, which really made it kind of a bore until that last like 25 minutes. I wish there was more development in the earlier stages of this film to really make that ending even more unsettling than it already was. So that's why Ari Aster's Midsommar is my number 7. At number 6, we have a film that actually won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature back in 2021. A film that really kind of came out of nowhere and was really carried by the soundtrack, the really popular soundtrack. It kind of sounds like Frozen because, well, it's a Disney film, and that is the film Encanto. Yes, the music in Encanto carries the entire film. The story is mediocre, the characters are bland, the animation was good, but it wasn't great. I thought the idea was cute. You know, it was a cute little family animated film. But again, the soundtrack of Encanto carries that movie. In fact, I would have much rather have seen Luca, which is Pixar's entry for Best Animated Feature that year, win the Oscar. I thought Luca was a way better film story-wise than Encanto. But that soundtrack, man, that soundtrack pushed that thing all the way to the end. But I just personally found this film really overrated, which is why it is my number 6. At number 5, we have a crime drama thriller type movie that, again, I understand the appeal for this film. For me, it just didn't do anything, and it felt way too bloated when I first watched it. And that is Martin Scorsese's The Departed. Again, all-star cast, a legendary director, but for me personally, just a really mediocre story. It drags on for so long until you get to the real meat and potatoes of the film. Leo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, and Nicholson, they try their best to have you be hooked into the story as it drags on the entire time. And for me personally, nothing really happened throughout the course of this film, again, until like the last hour of this film. And for me personally, a film has to grip me right away in order for it to really be interesting to me. And this movie just didn't have that. It relied on its long, drawn out pacing to really shock people, which obviously it did because there's a huge following for this film. Me personally, I just find this movie really overrated and an overrated Best Picture winner. So The Departed is my number 5 on this list. At number 4, I have an MCU film, and that is the film Black Panther. I can remember so vividly when this movie came out, the mainstream entertainment media, the mainstream media, they tried to push this thing as if it was like a cultural experience to go and see this film. But I personally came out of that movie going, wow, that was really, really bland. The film just doesn't do anything. It just floats there. It just exists. The story was mediocre at best. The screenplay was fine. The direction from Ryan Coogler was okay. The production design, the costume designs, and Ludwig Göransson's music really carried this film, in my opinion. But this movie does so many things wrong. I mean, they kill both of T'Challa's main villains from the comics in one movie. They really don't set up anything afterwards. And then you have Chadwick Boseman actually dying in real life, which really screwed over Black Panther 2, which in my opinion should have never been made. But this movie was just meh. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just meh. Which is why I think Black Panther is a really overrated film and my number 4. At number 3, we have another Scorsese film that might rub some people the wrong way, but it's just how I felt about this particular film. And at my number 3, I have Scorsese's Taxi Driver. I know, this movie has a lot of love for it. I personally just did not find that love that all these other people did. I appreciate the story and what it was going for. De Niro is fantastic. Jodie Foster completely deserved her nomination for this film. I loved Martin's direction. And again, I liked the concept of the story, but the screenplay for me personally is what kind of made this movie eh. Again, the story is fascinating, but the way it was written and the way the material was handled, for me at least, just didn't really give it that push that I was hoping that it would. And again, I totally understand the love that people have for this film. For me personally, I just did not find that same love. So Taxi Driver is my number 3 on this list. At number 2, we have a foreign language film, and a film that has a very high rating on Letterboxd. So I went into this movie thinking, oh, okay, well, this movie has a very high rating, so I should probably like it too, right? Well, not so much. And that is Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker. Again, I appreciate what Andrei was trying to do here with this film. This movie is very visually stunning. Like, it is one of the most beautiful shot movies, one of the most beautifully shot movies I have ever seen. The production design is fantastic, but once again, the story just doesn't grip me, or it didn't grip me, I should say. And that's with a lot of Andrei Tarkovsky's films. He hooks me for the first hour and a half, and then the other hour and a half or 2 hours, it just kind of falls apart and unravels. So, I don't know, probably Tarkovsky is just not the director for me, but again, I appreciate what he did with Stalker. I liked the ideas, it just did not gel well with me. So Stalker is my number 2. And my number 1 most overrated film that I have ever seen is Barry Jenkins' Moonlight. Guys, this film beat La La Land for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. No way. No way. Again, I appreciate what Barry Jenkins was going for. It's not a bad film, but it's certainly not a great film either. And again, I do appreciate what Barry was going for, and I understand the love people have for this film, but this movie does not do anything for me. The best part of this film is the middle chapter when the main character is in high school. The section where he's a kid and the section where he's an adult were completely boring. All of the action happens when he's in high school, which literally lasts like 20 to 25 minutes of the runtime. The movie is just dragged out, and the ideas and the material, the use of the material was just bland and just mediocre, which made this film overrated in my opinion. But there it is. That is my list of my top 10 most overrated films that I have ever seen. And guys, if you liked this video and want to see more videos like it, don't be shy and hit that like button. Also, hit subscribe while you're at it and turn on the post notifications so that you guys can get notified every single time that I post a video. You can follow me on Letterboxd, which is right here. I post all of my movie reviews on Letterboxd, as it helps me keep track of movies that I have watched, movies that I haven't watched, and movies that I will watch. And I think you guys would benefit greatly from this app and this website if you are indeed lovers of cinema like myself. As always, guys, happy movie watching. Take care.